Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and today we got our very first set of class updates announced for the expansion of Dragonflight. One of the biggest updates coming to the next World of Warcraft expansion is brand new class changes and reworks to our talent trees. Instead of focusing on more borrowed power systems, these talent trees are meant to provide a variety of different builds and playstyles, letting players either focus on their spec-specific role or opt in for more hybridized builds. Just the other day, we got new updates regarding passives, active abilities, and even raid buffs announced for the classes of Druid and Death Knight. Safe to say that this is a very early look at some of these classes, and they will likely receive a ton of feedback and updates before the release of the next expansion. So in today's video, I want to take a closer look at Druids and Death Knights and highlight some of the more powerful talents, abilities, and effects coming in the next expansion of Dragonflight. But right before we get into these updates, most of you guys watching these videos are still not subscribed. However, the more of you remind, the more of you do. So let's keep it going. Subscribe to the channel as well as hit the bell if you're watching these videos anyway, especially if you want to catch regular class talent updates for the next expansion of Dragonflight or potential announcements about the upcoming Dragonflight Alpha. First, let's take a closer look at the class of Druid. One of the basic Druid abilities that's expected to return is Mark of the Wild. This raid buff, however, is a little different. The new version of Mark of the Wild will buff your ally speed and critical strike chance by 3%, while also bolstering their defensives, reducing the match damage they take by 3% as well. This new raid buff will likely make Druid a must-have in every single raid team, and highly considered when it comes to small group and game content. For the Druid class talents, we see a lot of interesting utility options, like Skull Bash becoming available for Resto and Balanced Druids, or Innervate becoming a viable choice for Guardian or Feral. We have utilities like Soothe, Typhoon, and other crowd control effects that can be picked up depending on how you build your character. There's also opportunity for Druids to be even tankier, with better Barkskin and Frenzied Regen talents to support a much heavier defensive build. We even see some Torghast powers making their way into the class talent tree. The talent of Teachings is very similar to a Torghast power that grants you various secondary stats depending which form you're in. The final row of class talents also offers up major choices, whether you want to play more into your spec role or play into more of a hybrid and varied gameplay. Over for the Balanced Druid talent trees, you could buff up the ability of Celestial Alignment to provide even more AoE dot pressure. You can even modify Celestial Alignment to fire off a beam of astral energy if you pick up a talent in the 9th row talents. Generally, there's a lot of ways to modify Balanced Druid talent trees for various builds. One of those playstyles plays heavily into dot damage. Committing heavily into damage over time effects can now cause you damage over time abilities to spawn full moons through the Shooting Stars effect. In fact, a Torghast power with a very similar effect does exist in the expansion of Shadowlands, and it looks like yet another Torghast ability has made it into the Druid talent tree. For the Feral Druid talent tree, you can modify your Berserk in various ways, to either play into dot heavy gameplay or modify the damage of your instant cast abilities. That's generally the trend that we see with the Feral Druid talent tree. Some talents will support heavy bleed gameplay, while others support instant damage of abilities like Shred and Big Bites. For the spec of Guardian Druid, we see a variety of different builds that promote arcane gameplay, empowering your Moonfire to do far more damage and increasing your overall arcane damage output. Moonfire can hit multiple targets. Enemies singed by your Moonfire do less damage to you, and the damage done by Moonfire can even heal the Druid as well. There's also a lot of talents that support the gameplay of ability of Maul, not a commonly pressed ability when it comes to Druid gameplay. However, there's a variety of talents to buff the damage output of Maul and granted bolstered defensive benefits that could promote more usage of the ability going forward. We also see a lot less defensive talents competing against each other in the talent tree options, which might allow Guardian Druids to build for a more offensive or a defensive gameplay in the future. For the Restoration Druid talent trees, Lifeloom can now greatly benefit from the Restoration Druid mastery, increasing its focus healing output. In fact, there's a lot more talents that promote focus heal gameplay, like Rampant Growth, where Rejuves will also heal the Life Bloom target as well, or Invigorate, which will simply speed up all your healing effects on a specific ally, creating more of a burst heal window. We also see the patch 9.2 tier set make a return as a possible talent choice for the expansion of Dragonflight. Next, we got the class of Death Knight. First of all, for the basic Death Knight abilities, Rune Strike returns. It's hard to tell how strong or useful this ability will be for PvE content, but it likely will have some real uses within PvP. Like when a rogue pops evasion and starts dodging all of your abilities, a Rune Strike can slice right through the defensive. For the base Death Knight class talents, we see a variety of different crowd control abilities like an AoE blind become available for all 3 specs. The Necrolord Covenant Abomination Limb also makes its way to the talents as well. Besides that, we also see a variety of defensive tanky options for Frost and Unholy, which will likely end up getting a lot of use within PvP. We even get the new talent of Blood Draw, which seems like an excellent survivability or a soft cheat death mechanic. We even get some interesting utility like granting you Ghoul the passive of Enfeeblement to work as a defensive option for PvE and PvP content. Let's start off with the spec of Blood Death Knight talents. The less used Death's Caress ability is being massively buffed up in Dragonflight to provide an extra defensive value for Blood Death Knights. Level 9 row, we see a lot more options for Blood Death Knights as we get more tools for damage, defense, or empowering our utility and control. At the bottom of the talent tree, Blood Tanks got some very powerful options. One of them is a patch 9.2 tier set option that promotes a Ruin Weapon heavy build. That's excellent for both defense and offense. While another talent in the same row can reward you with massive bonus shadow damage depending on how efficiently you heal inside of your vampiric blood windows. For the spec of Frost Death Knight, your talent tree splits into 2 directions. Right hand side focuses on amplifying the damage all your Frost abilities do, while the left hand side focuses more on the martial combat, buffing abilities like Frost Strikes and Obliterates. If you played Frost Death Knight back in the expansion of Battle for Azeroth, you'll find a lot of familiar faces. A lot of the Azerite traits from the gear of that expansion have made their way back into the talent tree. A lot of those Azerite traits supported both the Frost Heavy Breath of Sindragosa builds, popular for PvE content, but also the Obliterate Heavy Machine Gun builds that many have preferred within PvP. It looks like the spec of Unholy DK might be getting a very powerful baseline execute effect, with the talent of Reaping empowering most of your general based abilities against critically injured targets. Where it gets really exciting for Unholy changes is in the 9th row of talents, as it gives us an idea of some of the different focus builds we may be able to create for our Unholy Death Knights. The talent of Morbidity can let us tap into our diseases, debuffing our enemies even further. Unholy Aura can let us embrace that Necromancer-like gameplay, empowering the damage of all our pet abilities. To focus on burst builds with Frenzied Monstrosity, or playing it slow and methodical with Fester Might, spreading your festering wounds on multiple targets to erupt them all at once for an increased PvE output. And that's going to be our early look at the Death Knight and Druid talents that will likely get a lot of feedback and updates before the release of the next expansion. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video and hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about the overall Death Knight and Druid changes planned for the next expansion, and which specs got you the most excited? What kind of builds are you hoping to create going forward? Maybe a diseased focused Unholy Death Knight or a pure arcane Guardian Druid? Let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments. As per usual, if you guys enjoyed this video or found it informative, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it. And as always, in the description of every single live stream and video, we have a link to our Discord community channel. Probably the best place to reach out to me directly in case you want to let me know what you thought about this video or discuss with the other members of the community what you think about the upcoming changes. Join our Discord to become part of the community. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts, and as always, I'll see all of you guys in another video.